Welcome to the Quilter on Fire podcast. Today, my guest is Jennifer Swope, the David and Roberta Logie Associate Curator of Textile and Fashion Arts at the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston. This is a rich historical presentation that spans 300 years of American quilts. And I'll quote the website directly to share that the remarkable examples on view are by an under-recognized diversity of artistic hands and minds from the 17th century to today, including female and male, known and unidentified, urban and rural makers, immigrants, and Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian, and LGBTQIA+ Americans. The exhibition invites visitors to celebrate the artistry and intricacy of quilts and coverlets and the lives they document, while also considering the complicated legacies ingrained in the fabric of American life. I cannot even imagine the research and work involved in pulling together a project like this. And here's where we cue today's guest. Jennifer Swope, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brandy. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here. Now, I want to start off by finding out a little bit about your story. So what's your role at the MFA?
Well, I'm very fortunate to work with so many creative and intelligent and engaged people. My role as a curator is to take care of the collection, advocate, and make sure that people don't forget it's here, choose things to go on view. And I have the privilege of answering people's questions about the collection. So a lot of people learn about our collection through our publications, through our database that's available on the museum's website. And everyone, whether they're enthusiasts, makers, artists, graduate students, professors, people doing all kinds of different work will come and talk to us, and even sometimes they'd like to see some things in our collection, so we get them out and we share what we know about them. And usually in those visits I learn something too, which was really an important and rewarding part of my job.
So, Jennifer, this exhibit sounds like it was a huge endeavor to pull together. So, I'm going to prompt you with a whole bunch of little questions. So, first, why the title Fabric of a Nation American Quilt Stories?
Well, we thought about many options and we kept circling back to stories because that was at the foundation of the publication. And every idea with every meeting was diving into the stories that each quilt had to share, or was embedded in the story, was
Mhm.
embedded in the object. And fabric because they're just beautiful textile objects, and one of the aspects, or one of the reasons why they are engaging and they can be very powerful, is because we live and die with fabric in our lives, and that is something that we wanted to really tap into.
So, there's over 50 objects spanning 300 years. How did you possibly pick a number?
Well, the good thing about exhibitions is that they're designed for an actual space.
Okay.
So it's a little like buying groceries. You're like, well, I can't buy 5 cans of tomatoes because I only have cabinet space for two. Not to make it sound that simple at all, but it is a little like not inviting like cousins to a wedding. Like when it gets down to like some of like the initial choices are quite easy,
Yeah.
or not easy, but you get a sense of like, okay, well, we want to show, we want to go from the 17th century to the contemporary period. Okay, well, and then you start actually trying to plan and design and figure out how things are going to work in the space. And we have a fabulous design department, and so everything is worked out before we install, in that sense. And you realize that you're actually not doing any visitor a favor by putting too many objects in an exhibition, because the objects take away from each other, they fight, or you want things to be in conversation, but you don't want anything yelling to be heard, right? And so I was a wonderful curator who's has this saying, which I agree with, is that every object deserves the dignity of its own space. So, and particularly when you're thinking about the work of either work that we don't know the artist, it's made of textiles. If we do know the artist, or the maker, they are most likely to be women. And I think it's very important to represent each piece in this exhibition as art. And so one of the things that is within our power to do is to create a beautiful design or a beautiful context for those works.
Did you like this trailer? Hit that subscribe button to get the new podcast trailer every week, and click on the link in the description below to listen to the full podcast.